Hey everyone, welcome to another video review. This is the X-Transbots Master X Series MX-XXII City Commander Stack. Their version of a Masterpiece Ultra Magnus. We're going to go ahead and put this truck off to the side real quick. Look at the box, because you got, of course, a nice bit of artwork there. Their Commander Stack there, just kind of doing a very similar to the movie poster pose there with, I guess, a approximation of Autobot City in the background. Okay, here. So you got the X-Transbots logos since 2008 and all that stuff there. On the top, you have the X-Transbots logo and a bit of the sticker they put on the box. On the side, you have a picture of a Commander Stack and plus some, I guess, diagram stuff. And it's hard to read here, but yeah, you can see a very, very fancy version of his motto. On the side, you have, well, the very fancy version of his motto. Let's see, yeah, thirst for victory leads to defeat, not tiring defeat leads to victory. Okay, and on the bottom you have a bit of teasers for the next figures. They're run amok and runabout stuff that's there, and a QR code and all that. And on the back you have this bit of kind of G1 Transformers inspired artwork and his little tech spec thing with the bio and all that stuff, although no red card reader, even though they do that. If you're going to do that, do the red card reader thing too. You also have the instruction book, which is pretty good size. Has the same thing on the back, with that. And somewhat goes through the instructions, although it kind of glosses over things, leaves bits out. Some of it's definitely not exactly easy to understand. There's that. And you have the collector card and a little plastic thing, which doesn't have any real clear way of opening. So I'm just going to leave it in there. And I think it's made of plastic, and yeah, you got all that stuff. So yep, kind of neat. Yes, so Commander Stack, their version of Ultra Magnus. Yes, it is a new attempt at doing a Masterpiece Ultra Magnus. Here you can see he is a white truck with a blue and red trailer. Go ahead and zoom in a bit. You see some details. Yeah, like here, you get some silver for the grill, the stripe, the headlights, gray mirrors. The windows are very, very smoky, translucent plastic as well. You got some silver for the hubcaps on the wheels. You got the red bumper, all that stuff. You got the blue, very nice. You can kind of see semi-metallic blue. Red in there for the ramps and whatnot. Some red back here. White and blue up here. The little missile pods up there too. Yeah, those are picked on silver paint. Although, we'll get into those a little bit later. Got that. More silver. White rear ramps. There you go. And on the bottom, you got, of course, bits and bobs on the bottom. There you go. One thing I do want to mention, this guy does take batteries for two different things. One of which is lights for his face, and one of which is for sounds. And I'll say this right now, the one for the sounds is a pain in the butt to get to if it's in robot mode, but here it's easy. Right there. That little gray spot right there. Yeah, this is where the batteries go. And 3 LR44s go in there. This is the easiest way to point it out. It's right there on this panel. Unscrew these two screws. Put 3 LR44s in, the positive and negative, and put it back together, and that's now the battery's there. It's very buried in the torso when it's in robot mode, so just an FYI on that. But yeah, it is a semi-truck, and it rolls pretty decently. The turning radius on the cab, though, is a little dire. I mean, you got that much. You really don't have a whole lot. That's all you get. That kind of stinks. These things can, pivot around and stuff. You can even kind of set them somewhat like they're, if you slide this forward, you can set them more like, I guess, the original toy, I guess. I think that's what the whole toy is like, more like. Like they're kind of set more like that. So you can kind of do that if you want. Yeah. One, I guess, kind of neat thing is the truck doors can open. If you look inside there, there is actually a cabin there with a steering wheel and seats and everything. I'm not sure how much can actually fit in there. And to test this, I do have the little dudes that came with MP Ultra Magnus. You got, there's a spike there. So see how well he fits. F at all, and well, he does not. I can't. And I can kind of jam him in there, but not very well. And now he's really stuck in there. Let's get him out. Get out. See, Daniel fits in. Maybe it's narrow enough. It's so narrow in here that it's like, kind of, but not really. It doesn't really fit. Have to get slightly smaller figures. I guess that's just to show off. I noticed X-Transbots on like a bit of a kick to just, oh look, we got interiors. Cool. I guess. So there's that. It does come with the if you remember that episode where they turned human in season 3, he comes with this guy. Just a non-posable rubbery figure. Kind of looks all right. I believe though that this is supposed to have white on both sides of his head, not just one. Doing a weird pose. But it's kind of neat looking. Some people have reported that because it's rubber plastic, like stuff's bent a little weird. It's not a huge deal. Just heat that up and you can fix that. Mine stands just fine, but other people had a problem with it not standing. Scale wise, this is a bit large, I feel, probably for human compared to a semi truck. But yeah, just that. Yeah, on the back end here, yeah, you can open these doors, and now you got a ramp. And how many can he hold on about cars? Yes, he can. No particular reason. Yeah, I'm just gonna grab a couple which are using old advertising for the old Diaclone battle convoy. Yeah, sideswipe, and just in particular, sideswipe and blue streak. And you can see you can fit 4 cars, but only certain ones. Kind of. I mean, unless you want to stick it out the front a bit. Yeah. Skids. Yeah. Jazz. Yeah. Yeah, skids can, you see the thing there is like, you get to that point of like, hey, when you fold this up, you want to do all that. But yeah, it's, they do fit somewhat, but yeah, you can see skids there is kind of hanging in the air because of the angles of that, but you can fit 4 cars. And on this side, the only thing is, yeah, Lamborghinis like this guy are kind of on the wide side for the top, but stuff like Blue Streak will fit just fine up there. Yeah, you can see he doesn't want to stay up there very well, but they do, he will fit down here as well. Just, you can fit 4 Autobot cars, but if you have one that's bigger than skids here, that will stick out the front a little bit, but not the end of the world. If that's a problem, well, that's on you. So yeah, that's something you can do. Just want to show that off. So yeah, pretty solid looking alt mode. The only thing I would also say is very much this right here. A couple things here, namely this panel. You can see this panel doesn't quite tab in, and this is a fairly common problem. It's not because of this transformation or anything. That just seems to be doesn't want to tab in all the way. I've tried everything. It doesn't seem to want to do it. And then this here, see right here, the smokestacks, because of how they transform, they're wobbly, so they kind of have a tendency to angle back, and they also very easily kind of unseat themselves when you're messing with it. So that's a little bit of an annoyance, but you can also see when I pick it up, yeah, the tires kind of want to fold inward a bit, and that seems to be just a design issue because I just untabbed that. Come on. There we go. Yeah, and also you can see also the cab is kind of bending forward a bit, but it's all fine when you like that. This piece panel right here doesn't want to fully seat itself sometimes. There are definitely a few things like that. Nothing too major. There are definitely a couple problems. We'll get into robot mode for the most part. I guess real quick comparisons though. Here in alt mode, just for some season 3 guys, here's RC. See that? Hot Rod. Those are the official versions, by the way. My Robot Heroes Springer. You know, that third party. Get that. Because this is easier to transform. MP-10 Optimus. And also because the truck, yeah, this truck is clearly designed to kind of look like this one. You can tell that this is kind of similar, although there's some differences. The windows are different, for example, but it gives you an idea of just size. And of course, the official MP-22 Ultra Magnus here. You can see some differences there. Not a whole lot, though. They are roughly the same length. The official one is a bit longer. Just a bit. Just a hair longer. The cabs are pretty much very similar in... You can see that the cabs are very similar in design and whatnot in size. They did some slightly different reds and whatnot, but yeah, there's some differences. I think in some ways the official one, in at least in alt mode, is better in some ways. Now, playability, it's a bit better. Like this it feels like this is much easier to deal with, even though, yeah, you got the thighs just chilling out there. It just feels like it's more conducive to actually rolling cars on it, because you don't have this weird angle there. I feel like this thing is a slightly wider too for the most part, so it works a little better than this one, I feel. Just little things like that. Nothing major, but I just feel like the alt mode, and also they do handle the upper deck thing a little bit differently too. This one has the fold right here. This one you have to do the whole thing, which I'll show in a second. I forgot about that. Also, this one can, you know, do this more. Although stuff gets copied, it can go further, and you can, you know, do the whole remove the cab thing. That's something to keep in mind. Yeah, something I forgot to mention earlier was this right here, which also leads to one of the first big QC things. Yeah, you can untab this and kind of fake this kind of coming down like this as a ramp, but, you know, just like the official one as well. You kind of got that whole thing of like there's nothing really there. But yeah, this right here, these tabs right here on the sides here, that's a problem right here. That's a very frequent problem. You can see some scratch marks on mine because I had to shave it down the plastic. See, what happens is they tab into the sides right here, right? The thing is, they are kind of what's the word I'm looking for? They're locking tabs in a sense. They have a little bit of extra plastic at the end, right? So they're supposed to tab it and lock it in. The problem is they lock in so securely that when you try to pull this off, you kind of wind up either stressing the plastic or outright breaking this thing off. I did a test of it the first time, and it locked in so solidly. I had to actually open this all up and push in with a screwdriver from the other side to get it untabbed. So the thing what I did is just, I recommend doing very much, is just shaving these down a bit and then doing another test fit. And now at this point, they don't lock in, but they're still secure so that it will hold in place, especially when the whole thing is together. It is sometimes it's a little easier when you transform it to accidentally knock them loose, but not too bad. They still grip in pretty well. So just a thing to definitely watch out for. That's the first big QC thing. And definitely one to watch out for is just simply shave these tabs down. You should be fine. Yeah. So that's the alt mode. I think largely, again, it's mostly pretty good. Nothing huge. It's just really kind of a playability factor. Just the truck doesn't really, the truck cab doesn't really swivel that much. The ramp's a little too angled here for some Autobot cars, and yeah, just a couple little things where just stuff doesn't want to quite all totally tab together, really. But for the most part, it's pretty solid. So yeah. I'm going to go ahead and transform him, and then we'll go ahead and talk about robot mode a bit. All right, so yeah, robot mode here. To get to it, yeah, getting that transformation is very panel heavy, that's for sure. It's definitely involved. There's a lot going on there, particularly in the torso. The legs and the arms aren't actually so bad for the most part, at least conceptually, but it's definitely a problem where the torso, there's a whole bunch of panels have to fold down, and not only that, fold down very precisely, or else it won't come together, as it's covered. Because there's been the first time I transformed back into robot mode, there's a good old, I found out that if it's not precisely aligned, the whole thing just kind of don't work. You have to get every little panel in there exactly aligned as you're going through, and then it will all come together. And if you don't do that, guess what? It's going to be a fun, unpleasant time where it will like kind of work until it suddenly doesn't. And then you have to go back 5 or 6 steps and try to start all over again. So transformation is definitely complicated, but I would say for the most part, other than the torso, is actually not too bad, just time consuming. Understanding what you got to do is not so much of a problem for the most part, except for the torso. So yeah, but anyway, you do get a very nice robot mode. As you can see, it is very kind of pretty darn screen accurate for the most part. There might be some liberties taken here and there, but largely pretty good. You can see there, yeah, his face there, very stoic looking. He's Ultra Magnus after all, you know. You can see his face, you know, white with blue eyes. Yeah, then silver, gray face. Some people are upset with that. Personally, I think it works just fine on this figure, but, you know, if you don't like the fact that it's white, then you're going to have to paint it. Yeah, you got the gray there. You get some blue and red. You know, no translucent plastic there. You got little white dots there. You got the white and blue for the growing the white and blue and all that stuff. You got the nice little bits of detail there. You got the detailing there. You got his little shoulder missile things, you know, his back here cleans up very nicely. You got some detailing back here where it's back, and then yeah, butt flap. Yes, the butt flap. And on mine, this particular panel does not like to stay tabbed in. I don't know what, something might be misaligned, but no matter what I've done, it doesn't like to stay totally tabbed. Sometimes it pops off very easily, so that's a little unfortunate, but yeah, cleans up very nicely. You can see very proportionate. A very proportionate figure overall. It cleans up very nicely, and yeah, he looks great, honestly. Yeah, I really like it. One thing is they don't do the whole tire, kind of the cheat tire shrinking thing that the official one does. But what's really cool is there's a thing in there when you flip the foot, when you flip this back half up vertical for this actually moves up a bit, and so the wheels are no longer going down. And then when you go back to truck mode, these will spring back down and everything. So that's pretty neat. Yeah. So yeah, it looks really good. He comes with a rifle, as you might have seen, the transformation. It's kind of the wrong shade of blue, honestly. It doesn't match this shade of blue, but it's also just entirely wrong. It's supposed to be a bit lighter, but sculpting-wise, it looks pretty good overall. And I cannot keep a whole grip on it. And yeah, he can, of course, you know, got the tab and slot, so he can hold this if you unfurl his fingers and whatnot. And the only thing is the hand is pretty kind of set in this little thing because of the design. So getting his thumb out is always a fun time. There we go. Got that out. Okay, so just tabs in the slot right there. So yep, tabs in the slot, and then curls fingers around it, and there you go. He's holding it pretty darn securely, honestly. I would say pretty securely. That is not going anywhere. Yep. Beyond that, let's see. Doesn't really come with a whole lot of specific accessories here for the most part. Again, you got the little dude, which, yeah, you can see that. I'm not sure how well that helps, but hey, it's a thing right there. And then the ones that came with the official there, you got very small. Another thing he has actually in here is yeah, you can open that up. Yep, he does have a matrix chamber. You can open this up, And there is a matrix in there. It is plastic, and there is nothing actually holding it in there other than, well, this stuff. And you can also see right there, there's actually is translucent windows there just because they were kind of there in the movie. You can see that some bits of detailing there, but not a whole lot. Yeah, the matrix, it's pretty well painted. You know, you got the gold and silver. Mine actually started coming apart pretty easily, just pegs and stuff. So if that bothers you, might be a problem. But yeah, just gold on the back here. And it does actually separate a little bit. Not a whole lot, mind you, but a little bit. So you can kind of emulate an opening, I guess. Although, you know, Magnus can't do it. And you got some more detailing in the matrix changer itself. You know, you got some pretty nice details, all that stuff. But yeah, again, unfortunately, this doesn't really hold. It just kind of rests in there, and you have to use those to hold it in place. But not the end of the world, but it is a little bit of a nuisance when you open this, and there's a good chance it's just going to fall out like it did. One other thing, of course, he does have 5 alternate faces. Not of darkness, though. You have, of course, that just default stoic face. You have his face was kind of with kind of pursed lips or something. Oh, I don't know what he's like talking or something. The face here, which is him kind of looking a little like he's speaking and he's a little disappointed in you because he always is. Then you've got these other 3 faces, which have a little. You got this one who gets a little mad, but also it's got this little silver patch of paint on his chin, which I'm not really too enthused about. He's got that. He looks like he's mad. Another one with silver patch, which has a bit of a smirk. And another one with silver patch, which has much more of a frown. He's even more upset than normal. And yeah, swapping it out is actually pretty easy. Just pull the front of the helmet off, and then you pull the face off, which that's actually, for the most part, actually came out pretty good easily. Usually it's been more difficult, but anyway, yeah, you just go ahead and swap them on, and there you go. You know, you got all that stuff, right? Very straightforward. Now, the thing is, there's also electronics in here, in the head right here. What is you have to take apart this all apart and take the face off, and then you take these 2 screws out, and you take this white piece out, and there's a battery thing in there. And it takes 2 LR621s, and then you're supposed to be able to press that right here. There's a little triangle piece. You press that button. Press that button right there, and that's supposed to light up. Unfortunately, mine does not work. I put the batteries in, didn't work. I swapped turned the batteries over, maybe thinking I was wrong, did it wrong, still didn't work. Swapped to a whole new set of batteries, didn't work. It just seems to be the electronics on mine just don't work, unfortunately. So that's a thing. But if they do work on yours, the other good thing is because you notice those eyes are all painted. Yeah, those eyes are all painted, which aren't very conducive for painted lights, but they actually apparently do work apparently. But if you want, there's also 2 sets of little translucent eyes, and those you just push the old eyes out, and there we go. Push the old eyes out. See this piece right there? It's just one little bar. You just push that out from the front. Try not to lose it. So you push those out from the front, and then you put the translucent pair in, and there you go. That'll be there for lighting. But it's good news for me because since mine don't work, and I don't really usually care about the lighting stuff much at all. I don't really care about the lighting stuff. It's kind of a neat novelty for like all of 5 minutes, and then it's like, oh right, you have to shut it off eventually or something. And I don't like leaving the batteries in or anything, so I'm glad that by default it includes painted eyes, and you have that option. So it's nice, but yeah, it's something you can safely ignore. It's very much something you can safely ignore if you know. Okay, why aren't you going in? There we go. Yeah, you can safely ignore it if, you know, the eyes aren't really a thing you're into, or the light up eyes. You can safely ignore it, and you have nice painted eyes, and it still looks nice and not dead. Now, the other set of electronics, as I pointed out, yeah, the battery compartment's in there, and you have to kind of disassemble all this stuff, which is always a fun time to have to disassemble a whole, well, not disassemble, but you have to untransform it quite a bit. You have, go back partially to vehicle mode and open this up. And I showed you where the compartment is. It's in there, though. But yeah, it's, again, 3 LR6 or LR44s, and what you do is this right here, this white square up here, you hold that for 3 seconds. And then it's on, and you can press it.
There it goes.
And you press that button, you get voice clips. These are not stolen from the movie. They got someone to, emulate the voice, some lines from the movie.
I can't deal with that now. Artist human Archangel transform Autobot City. Bug and Scope, tell Transistor to Radio Prime for reinforcements.
You can see that, though, what they use is they use the X-Transbots names for the characters. Because how I get it? Yeah, see, they want you to remember those.
You'll die trying, just like a polygon.
Yep.
Make a break for cover. I'll try to unleash the power of the Matrix. Open, damn it, open! But my leader, I'm
Yep.
just a soldier. I'm not worthy.
Yeah, so it's pretty neat, but again, it's one of those things that after this review, I'll probably just go ahead and take the batteries out and never ever use it again, but also turn it off. You just, once again, hold it for 3 seconds. Or... only thing, the button sometimes gets stuck very easily. So that's something. It's kind of neat, but also, kind of neat, but also just whatever. Kind of, it's kind of cool, but yeah, I don't know. One of those things that feels like it's just kind of wasted time for most people. And it's going to be cool for all of, again, like a minute, and then you're kind of remove the battery so they don't melt in there. And yeah, kind of neat, but it's largely unobtrusive. Other than getting to that battery compartment can be a pain in the butt. So you can safely ignore it if you really just don't care. Decent voice, though. But anyway, articulation. Head is on a ball joint, so you got left and right and up and down. And the only thing is there's a little block in there, which kind of limits the articulation a little bit. But so he only has a little bit of up and down, and he has a little bit of side to side. Yeah, he's got a little bit there. Shoulders here, you got full rotation, although that's one thing on this left shoulder. Apparently, a lot of people have a problem with the left shoulder, which is it'll move it up, and you feel really a lot of resistance moving up, and then like almost none going down. And that's because apparently, for a lot of people, there's a screw here, which is it's a screw with like a welded washer, and the washer is like off center. It's all off center. So what happens is it's the resistance is it kind of grinding in, and then it's loosening. So eventually, what happens is all of a sudden the arm just comes off. So it's actually pretty simple fix. If this happens to you, just this right here, apparently just take the washer and just to grind it down so it fits properly. I didn't have this issue, so I got dodged that bullet. But yeah, it's you have to grind that washer down so it fits properly, and then this should work at that point. So you got that. You got outward. You got this outward, but you also have this outward, which is a nice clicky ratchet right there. So you can get a full outward right there, which is nice. And you got this joint, which, they kind of, it can, works better on this side. So yeah, slide it out and in. Although that's mostly for transformation, that can help a little bit with outward. You can see a little bit more outward. This side gets kind of stuck, caught on something. I'm not sure what something gets in the caught kind of easily. You might see this be struggling with it. These, of course, can, up and down and angle up and all this stuff. You want those out of the way. You have that, I'm going to get that out of the way. Yeah, you got, of course, a bicep swivel. Elbows. Oh, no, it's only single 90 degree. So on the transformation, though, again, they slide. That's the other thing. The sliders on these can be really tight out of the box. Really tight. But you have 3 positions. You got this position. You got, and this is still kind of tight in mine. You got this middle position, which gives you double jointed elbow, which is really nice. And you got the third position for... vehicle mode. And the thing is, on this, what I found is, okay, so you got these 2 screws. You take those off, and right in here, it's a little spring-loaded piece. It's like little pieces of plastic spring-loaded, like with little divots, so it kind of latches in place, kind of like a what's something? But yeah, it's one of those just kind of locking points along the slider. So what it is it basically what's happening is it's just too taut. It's just, for a lot of people, it's stuck. So what's happening is basically just too much pressure. The plastic, it's just not giving. So what I did, honestly, someone went a little more further, but I undid these screws and just took it apart a little bit and looked at it. And what I did is when I put it back together, but before screwing it in, I kind of held it lightly so I could slide it up and down, and just kept putting more and more pressure on it as I was sliding up and down, so that eventually it kind of worked itself. And eventually you can wear it in and then it'll work just fine. But until that point, it can be really stuck. So just, yeah, probably have to take it apart and just do that. Someone did shave theirs down, the plastic down a little bit to help, but I don't think you have to outright do that. But regardless, there's a good chance it'll just be stuck out of the box. You're going to have to do some fixing. But yep, it works. Just very stiff. Still a little stiff on mine, but it'll probably break in over time again. But hands, the wrists are on swivels. They're kind of weird because of the shape of the forearm, but you do have swivels. The thumb, gonna zoom in a bit for this one. Thumb, you can see, is on a ball joint of the base right there. So you got, twisting and rotation like there. There's a hinge here and a second hinge like that. And the fingers here, they're all in hinges at the base, and two hinges, two knuckle hinges like that. So you got that, and they have splay, which is pretty neat. Probably too much splay, but you have all that in the fingers, which is pretty nice. And they seem to be pretty solid, so that's pretty good. Down here at the waist, you have a smoothly rotating waist swivel, which has no real hindrances. And then, yes, the abs, there's a crunch there, which is a very nice one. That's what they did here. Was maybe a little unsightly in some angles, but you do have that much ab crunch because of this joint. And on top of that, you have a very squeaky swivel there, extra swivel there, so you can get kind of a leaning ab crunch. And you can also even crunch them back a bit as well. And yeah, so you got that. So that's pretty neat. That's a very nice bit of articulation. The other thing, hip skirts here, they get out of the way. Some people, the hip skirts are kind of loose and pop off really easily, and I think someone actually outright had theirs broken. So that's another thing you might have to watch out for. Mine are fine, but yeah, you get a lot forward. Backwards, the butt plate can get out of the way. Go back pretty far. It's all ratcheted that way. Outward, you can see that gets out of the way, and that's just friction, but lots of range there. You have a nice thigh swivel right there. And the knees, you got kind of a double jointed knee, although this mostly doesn't move that much. And when I start pulling too hard, everything starts to untab itself back here, at least on mine. Mine does that a bit, but I'm not sure how bad it's on others. But yeah, all this stuff starts to untab itself if I move the knees too much, particularly on the left leg here. Yeah, you got that much range. Not a huge amount of curl, but more than 90. Because yeah, there's that joint, and then there's a little extra joint inside the shin there. And down here at the feet, you have ratcheted ankle tilt. Yeah, you go full straight on, although when you do that, this will kind of probably latch in a bit, but straight on, you have that much. And yeah, a bit forward, not really any backwards though, so that's unfortunate. Yeah, so no backwards, but you got forward tilt there. Also, by the way, yeah, these panels are supposed to be behind on this thing, not in front. So out of the box, they'll probably be wrong, but you can fix that really easily. So yeah, that's yep, articulation, really nice. Some people reported their knees. The knees on theirs just, yeah, I think I said it, but yeah, knees just, there is no ratchet there. It's just nothing. On mine, it's full ratchet, but apparently a couple of them misassembled. My guess is someone dug into theirs. You got to disassemble all this, and it's likely what happened is they actually put the ratchet piece in backwards, so there's no teeth grinding. It's just teeth against smoothing, so it's just a friction joint. It's not very good friction joint. But yeah, it might be just as simple as open up the leg and flip a piece around. You should be good to go. But yeah, you might have that, you might not. I don't have that. I never had that problem. So there you go on that front. Articulation is great. It's one of the best I've seen, especially for a guy this chunky. And there's also, of course, well, I guess comparisons now. Put him there, and we're gonna go ahead and look at. Let's see. Oh yeah, here he is next to a standard Autobot Masterpiece car guy. Sideswipe. Here he is with our the official MPRC. Please stand. There we go. Official hot rod. Here he is with a Robot Hero Springer. Doesn't want to stand properly right now for some reason. There we go. Here he is with someone you may not notice did not pop up in the alt mode stuff at all, but he's going to pop up here because I don't hate myself, so I'm not going to transform him. Here's X-Transbots Lock. I'm not going to transform him ever again. I hate it. I hate transforming this guy, so I'm never going to do it ever again. I know I never reviewed him because I'd hate transforming. I never want to do it. I didn't want to do it on camera because I would have embarrassed myself or something. Here is MP49. Probably a bit taller. That's the thing is, well, he's more proportionally accurate to the cartoon. He's probably still a little too tall, but that's kind of the compromise for if you want the truck cab to be the size it is, this is going to be how it is. Just simply, this guy is going to be a bit taller than you probably like, but there's really not much you can do without making the alt mode too small or something. So, and people will complain about that too. So there's that. Anyway, yeah. That. And finally, here he is with the official MP22 Ultra Magnus. Yeah, you can see he's a bit taller, chunkier. Yeah, you can see the proportions are definitely a bit different. Cleans up a lot more. This is from that old era before they started really going all, Toon or nothing. You can see all that. You can see how they clean up and whatnot. Yeah, you can see that versus the attempt to emulate that with that. So yeah, X-Transbots here definitely cleans up really well, but I still have a soft spot for this guy, honestly. And that's one of the things is this guy you can transform in about 5 minutes. This thing XXL takes me about 15 to 20. So that's something. Anyway, yeah. So, Commander Stack here. Did you get it? Okay, I'll go say this right now. It's probably one of the better X-Transbots released. In fact, it's probably the best one they've had in like a year or so, a couple years. But he does have a couple caveats. Number one, the transformation is incredibly complicated compared to a lot of other things. If you do not like complicated transformations, you will not like this guy. He is, and on top of that, he is very panel heavy in his transformation. So that's going to put a lot of people off right there. That's going to be a big deal for a lot of you. And if you can't deal with that, then you probably just skip it. He is also $200. Not bad price for a guy this size and whatnot. Not bad. He doesn't have the problem a lot of X-Transbots guys used to have, which is way too much diecast and terribly poor positioned places and whatnot. He has a bit of diecast, just not a whole lot. It's mostly in his feet and thighs, I believe. But beyond that, they kind of finally realized stop putting diecast everywhere. It's just annoying. Because he has got weight to him, but he doesn't have that much weight to him. I forgot to mention that all. Yeah, they're definitely diecast down here. Yeah. The other thing is, the other big thing is very much, a lot of them seem to have little things you're going to have to fix out of the box in one way or the other. Mine had a couple problems, namely, the sliding joints on the arms were just stuck. I had to shave down some tabs on the legs. And one of my electronics simply doesn't work. The lights just simply don't work on mine. And other things people found, which is sometimes the left arm may come off on some people's, and the hip skirts might be an issue, and the knees might not ratchet properly. People have noted those issues. I don't have those issues particularly, but it's almost guaranteed you're going to have to fix something out of the box because it's X-Transbots and they can't seem to nail the production process. The engineering works, but yeah. It's not the most enjoyable transformation. After a while, you'll kind of get used to it and you kind of figure it out. But it's definitely complicated. It definitely takes a long time. And yeah, it takes a while. It's definitely a transformation that is time consuming. So it's one of those things where definitely I will recommend it, but with the caveats of you're going to probably have to fix at least one of those things I mentioned. But for the most part, it seems like most of the stuff that you need to fix is something that's an easy fix. The only thing it seems the hip scarts are just simply you're going to have to ask for a replacement part. And probably if you get the electronics issue, you're going to have a replacement part. Unless you're like me, you don't really care. I thought about it, but I was like, I'm never going to use it anyway, so I'm not going to bother asking for a new one. New electronic unit there, light unit there. But recommended, but with caveats, that's for sure. If any of those things I mentioned, if it bothers you, you're going to have to fix something out of the box, skip it. But they are minor flaws, and largely, again, this is one of the better X-Transbots releases. They have definitely gotten a reputation, for sure. But I think this is one of their better releases, and it works really well, and it looks really good. It is pretty much the only one of three Masterpiece Magnuses you have on the market between this, the official, and Citizen stack from KFC way back when, and that one's super stylized. And well, of course, Fans Toys is coming out with one, and well, just claiming about a year or so from this point. But yeah, we'll see if that actually happens anytime soon. So, and that one's going to be also the whole armored robot thing. So if that's more catches your fancy, you might want to wait for that one. But it definitely is more proportionate than the official. But the official has the advantage of it's a much faster, smoother transformation. And also, I think the vehicle mode is overall just slightly better on the official. So that might be an important thing. If those are either those important to you, then you might want to consider just keeping up with the official one. But if you're someone who either A, doesn't really transform your figures very often, or B, doesn't mind a complicated transformation, then yeah, I think this is worth it. Just, again, the asterisk of you might have to fix a few minor issues out of the box, but they shouldn't take too much effort. And we're not seeing too many reports of any outright broken ones. So, not too many anyway. So, yay. Progress. Hopefully, maybe X-Transbots will be better in the future. But, yeah, just know what you're getting when if you're going to buy this guy. Again, $200, and he's complicated as heck. And might have an issue or two. So that's the thing. Yes, recommended with a caveat, with a couple asterisks on the end of that. So yeah, that's it for this guy. I hope you found this informative and entertaining. I hope you like, comment, subscribe. But check out my Twitter. I'm at Nemesis Prime 1. And check out my co-host, cohost.com/Nemesis-Prime. And check out my Coffee and my Patreon. And I shall see you next time with another video review.